Hello, everybody. It's Leslie Tagorda here, your brand navigator. And oh my goodness, such a powerful day. Happy Halloween and happy Mercury Retrograde station. Today is you might be already running into some tech glitches. I know I was on a call earlier and my client's laptop kind of got stalled. Well, today is the station of Mercury retrograde, which means it is the day that Mercury has put the brakes on. It has come to a complete stop from our perspective here on Earth before it moves backwards. So I wanted to come on live today to talk about the Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, why it's so important, where the Mercury retrograde dates, of course, so you can kind of plan how to find out where in your life Mercury retrograde is asking you to re-examine your life and your business, of course. How your new moon intentions that you set on Sunday will be benefited by this Mercury retrograde if you do the work. And 6 things to do during this Mercury retrograde so that you can build trust and power in your brand. All right, so there's a lot of things to cover today. I'll just go through I got all my notes here because I wanted to make sure that I didn't really miss anything. So this Mercury retrograde, right, we talked about it's the time when Mercury goes backwards from our perspective here on Earth. And Mercury actually goes retrograde 3 times a year. And it takes about 3 weeks for it to go backwards. But now the idea with Mercury, right, we have a shadow period, which actually started on October 11th, where Mercury starts to put on the brakes before it starts to go backwards. And this is called the pre-shadow period because this is from the degree on October 11th where Mercury will retrace its steps back to that degree, right? 11 degrees of Scorpio. So what is going to happen this year? We've had all of our Mercury retrogrades in water. So this is really getting us to reconnect with our emotional selves and understanding what our emotional needs are. Now, Scorpio is the most intense of all of the water signs. It is deep, intense emotional feels. So of course, Mercury retrograde in Scorpio is going to be about tapping into those desires and trusting ourselves and the power, right? The power that we have, the power that we hold over people, the power that other people have on us. So we have a lot of opportunity here to really reassess where we are and make the changes necessary so we can actually move forward with our lives, right? So generally when Mercury is in Scorpio, right? Mercury is the little planet between us and the sun, and astrologically the energies are represented through communications, the way that we process information, right? The way that information that comes into us, the way that we comprehend it, and then the way that we talk about this information or speak or write, the kind of the output of the information, right? So Mercury is our device that rules all of that. Just so as we're processing information, when Mercury is in Scorpio, which it has been since October 3rd, and it will be until December 9th, that is a really long time for a little Mercury to be in one planet. So Mercury is really asking us at this time to go deeper, right? To tell our truths, to be more authentic, right? This is regardless of whether Mercury is going forward or backwards, right? And to be aware of what information needs to come through, right? Mercury in Scorpio, especially if you have Mercury in Scorpio natally, like you need to be emotionally honest and you need to be healing and transformative, right? And being really intimate with ourselves and others. So this Mercury retrograde is particularly important because of the new moon that we just had in Scorpio on Sunday, on October 27th, right? So when we were talking about our intentions that we were creating with the Scorpio energy, most often than not, that this is the energy that is going to be, it's going to feel like there's a little bit of shame around the desires that we wanted to intend around Scorpio, right? If you did your work right, you are going to feel a little bit of shame. Like, do I deserve these things that I intend? Am I really, really worthy? All the things like that, right? So because we're dealing with shame, we have to we have to dig deeper to get beyond the shame, right? So that's why this Mercury is so great, because it gives us the time to re-examine and reorganize and reprioritize, right? So such a perfect combination between our new moon intentions and this Mercury retrograde, right? So even though during the Mercury retrograde, your thought processes may take a little bit longer, right? If you were born during a normal Mercury season, like Mercury is going direct, right? Normally what you'd be doing when you're thinking is that the idea comes into your mind, you think about it, you internalize it in your body, and then you go out and do it, right? When Mercury is going backwards, for the people who are born with Mercury going natally, they're going to have to like feel it in their body first and get that kind of Virgo experience of Mercury before we can then process it in our heads and then move forward. For those of you who are born during Mercury retrograde, you're going to feel like this is just such a natural place. Like, yay, you're finally in your element of your thought processes needing to go through your body before they get processed in your mind, right? I find that so amazing. So Mercury is going to be going backwards from today and all the way until November 20th. When on November 20th, Mercury takes a stop, still in Scorpio at 11 degrees, and then it's going to come back forward, right? Now, Mercury is going to be in its post-shadow period. So after November 20th to December 7th, Mercury is going to take all of that time to retrace its steps back to Scorpio at 27 degrees before it can continue moving forward. And then, like I said, Mercury is still going to have a few more degrees until it gets into Sagittarius, right? So we're going to have a lot of Mercury in Scorpio until December 9th. So really, you'll have this opportunity to get really comfortable with all of those deep emotional feels, right? Perfect for the holidays, perfect for Thanksgiving. To see, if you have family triggers, this will be an amazing time to think about your emotional needs, right? But let's talk about business, right? Because this is what I love to talk about, is business astrology and branding astrology, and how Mercury, our thought processes, our way that we communicate, which is so important in our business, how it will affect our business. So when you look at your natal chart, because Mercury is going to be transiting Scorpio from 11 to 27 degrees, right? You want to look at if you have any planets that are in Scorpio, Gemini, or Virgo, right? I say Gemini and Virgo because those are the two signs that are ruled by Mercury. So if you have any planets that are that between 11 and 27 degrees, Mercury is going to be transiting those planets and triggering those planets. So for example, if you have your moon there, your moon is about your emotional and intuitive self. Mercury is going to be triggering that. If you have Mars there, the planet of action and motivation, right? And Mercury transits that, you're going to have something is going to be triggered about the way you're motivated to go do things, right? So you can look at where the planets, if there are any planets between 11 and 27 degrees of Scorpio, Gemini, and Virgo, right? The other thing is that you want to look at whether or not you have planets there. You want to look at which house Mercury will be going retrograde. So for example, my Mercury will be going retrograde between my 6th house of daily routines, wellness, wholeness, as well as my 5th house of creativity and play. I've been talking a lot about this lately with my new moon intentions being around learning to actually have play just for the sake of play. If you know me, I'm all about business. I love business and I have so much fun doing work, but I realize that there's a huge gap in my life because I'm not able to just enjoy myself just for the sake of enjoying myself. And I find this happens, it affects my personal life, which then in turn affects my business life. So our lives are holistic, and these wheels that need to be pretty balanced, right? And so anytime you have a gap or a bump in a part of your life, it's going to bring the entire thing, it's going to contract your entire life, right? So you want to get everything pretty even. So for me, bringing in the balance of my health and bringing in the balance of my play, hi Susie, is really going to elevate my business and my life as general. Susie, we're talking about Mercury retrograde, and it goes, it's stationed today going backwards. So it's all about our mindset. It's all about deep, intense emotions through Scorpio. So you want to look at which house Mercury is retrograding, because that's going to tell you where in your life you need to do the re-examination, right? Mercury retrograde is all about redoing, re-examining, reassessing. So let's get into the 6 things that you can do for your business and your life during this Mercury retrograde, so you don't have to freak the fuck out, right? So of course this is not the 6 things, but of course you're going to take extra time for traffic, and there's going to be a lot of traffic jams, there's going to be tech glitches. So pad your schedule, don't pack it in, otherwise you're going to just be banging your head against the wall. Susie says, is this why I had a snake under my couch and wasps in my skylight? I freaked out. Well, snakes, and I'm not sure about the wasps. Maybe they got lost. I don't know if it has anything to do with Mercury retrograde. Maybe I gotta see where Mercury is going backwards in your chart. Maybe if it's going backwards in your maybe 4th house or 2nd house of home, maybe the snakes and wasps are making little mistakes about where they think that their home is. But that's kind of funny. I remember the last Mercury retrograde, we were in Hawaii, the one in July, and our hotel flooded because of a fire alarm malfunction. That is so Mercury retrograde. Big traffic jams, yes. Back up your computer, technology glitches, all of those things. Yeah, it's been a weird week. And today is kind of it's been building up to today. Today is probably going to be the most, we're going to really feel the Mercury retrograde, and now it's going backwards. So expect the next 3 weeks to be a little bit bumpy. But this is a really, really great time for some other things, right? We're talking about building trust and building power in our business. And really, it's the trust within ourselves, right? So 6 things to do in your business to get the most out of this Mercury retrograde, right? We want to rebuild trust in yourself, right? Only you know what trust means for yourself, right? Don't let anybody else tell you what you need to trust in, right? If you have a coach or a guide or anything like that, the perfect guide is going to help you discover the truth and the trust for yourself. So especially in business, when we're looking to others to help us, we can get lost there. But remember, true trust lives in yourself. And if you're not able to find the trust in yourself, then that's something that we also need to look at, right? So rebuilding the trust into yourself, that's number 1 thing to do. Number 2 is to reconsider your truth, right? We all need to reconsider our truths at every once in a while. And it's so nice that Mercury retrograde is here to remind us, hey, it's a great time to reconsider your truth. Do you really understand what you want? And is that really what you're going for right now? Or have you been kind of sidetracked, right? This is the time to really understand, is my truth, am I living to my highest ideals? Have my highest ideals changed? Or am I living somebody else's highest ideals, right? So that's the 2nd thing to do this Mercury retrograde, is to reconsider your truth. The 3rd thing that you'll want to do is, we talked a little bit about this earlier, is about recognizing your shame, right? Shame is so powerful and often paralyzes us and prevents us from doing the things that we really, really want to do, right? So earlier I was talking about shame around my body and the shame around not being able to play. And in reality, it does prevent me from doing the things that I want to do. Like, would I normally go to a dance party and just shake my booty? Like, no, because I'm so self-conscious. I have so much shame around being seen in that way. And I think it's really, really holding me back. And that's one of the things that I'm re-examining during this Mercury retrograde, is around the shame around my creative self-expression, as well as expressing the needs of my body, right? So that's number 3, is to reassess your shame. Recognize your shame, right? We got to recognize it first. Be friends with our shame, right? Then we can learn what it wants us to know. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to reinforce our boundaries. That's the number 4 thing to do during this Mercury retrograde. So once we know what our boundaries are, we have to reinforce them. We have to remind the people that we love, that we work with, that, hey, these are my boundaries. And it's not about being selfish. It's about prioritizing yourself so that you can really take the time, take the resources, take whatever you need to get those important things done, right? And to put you and your business first, because once you're happy and you put yourself first, then you have so much more to give other people. So what boundaries do you need to reinforce during this Mercury retrograde, right? The next thing, the 5th item I'd love you to concentrate on during this Mercury retrograde is to reiterate your needs. It's similar to the boundaries, right? But once we're constantly telling people like what our needs are, oftentimes people will forget, like our partners will forget, or our clients may forget. So this is just a really good time to reiterate our expectations and our needs. It's not that people are maliciously forgetting your needs. It's just that our needs are not at the top of somebody else's mind. So we just have to reiterate and remind people. Okay. The 6th thing, the last thing that I want you to really concentrate on during this Mercury retrograde in your life and your business is to redefine your possibilities, right? We're talking about our truth and our power. So thinking about truth and power, what are your possibilities? Have you outgrown your current possibilities? Do you need to reach for a higher star? Often cases like when we're doing the work and when we're elevating and evolving our businesses and our brands, we have to look at the possibilities. Like I was talking to my business astrologer the other day, and I've been trying to increase my visibility and hoping that on Instagram I can get to like the 10,000 mark. And she was looking at my chart and she was saying, Leslie, you're supposed to be an international person, and I just been focusing on the United States. And she was saying 10,000 followers is too small for you. You need to be thinking in the millions. And like whoosh, my mind was blown. I was like, really? She's like, yeah, look at your Jupiter and your Sun conjunction there. This means that you're supposed to live large and live big. And so I'm still sitting with that. I'm still sitting with that possibility. I cannot yet see myself as somebody that has 1 million followers. Is it a desire? Yeah. It seems like like a wishful thinking. So that's why I really need to sit with that and see if that's my truth. In some way deep down in there, I get really excited and at the possibility of that being my truth. But I haven't gotten to the place where I believe and embrace that so that I can become that. But that is one of the things that I will be working on in my mindset with this Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. It's so perfect to redefine our possibilities. So what does redefining your possibilities look like for you? So this Mercury retrograde, it's funny that the RX for retrograde is exactly like the symbol for prescription. So we can just talk about our Mercury retrograde as medicine for our brand. So what will you be doing for your Mercury retrograde to rebuild and deepen the self-trust so that you can connect with your ultimate power? All right. I got to go, everybody. I'm late for another meeting, but it was so fantastic. Send me comments, send me questions, DM me, whatever you need to do. I would love to help you assess where Mercury is going retrograde and what medicine it's asking you to take for your life and your business. Bye.